I don't know where the sun goes every night, or where the moon goes when it's light, I don't mind, as long as it's there in time. Oh, as long as
this video, I want to show you some of the tools that I use in making the long back stick for the American comeback Windsor. This is the rounder that I used. It's got a curly blade with the bevel, it's ground on the top. And the entrance into the rounder is curved with the same curvature as the blade. Inside it's a uniform bore of 3/4 of an inch. When using this, it's important that the timber exiting at the back is fairly snug. If it rattles at all in there, you'll get a bad result. This second rounder, I think, works better. It's the traditional style. It's got a flat blade. It's 48 millimeters wide. The bevel is underneath, and the cutting edge is very slightly curved. What is important about this is that the entry has to accommodate the square blank. So the entry here is 1 inch or 25 millimeters, and after 48 millimeters, it's a uniform taper that's involved. I can't remember, but I may have done this on the lathe, or I may have done it with a tapered reamer. It's made from a piece of cherry, and there are 2 bits of plywood stuck on at the back with the long handle, so that the handle can rest on the bed of the lathe, so that you have uniform resistance to the revolving timber. This is the trapping plane number 1 that I used. It's got a 38 millimeter wide blade. It's set at 30 degrees, but that angle may vary to suit the bevel that you put on your blade. Again, it is important that the blade meets the timber at as low an angle as possible, and that the heel of the bevel is just clearing the timber. I have a brass insert there, very important, because the timber won't stand up to the pressure and the heat of revolution. This hinge here needs to be very robust. It's made from it's a cut down T-hinge, galvanized T-hinge, most of it cut away. Initially I had quite a flimsy hinge in there, and it was useless. The whole thing bent. I have a revolving piece here that allows you to change the angle as you move down the revolving timber. Trapping plane number 2 is made in the same way. The angle this time I measured it at 26 degrees. The blade is much narrower, which means that you can go down at a bit of a curve if you need to. The blade itself is only 28 millimeters wide. Again, it is set at a very low angle. I would suggest that when you're gluing in this piece here to take the blade, that you go low rather than high, because if you're too low, you can add a shim, glue on a shim, until you get the desired position. Whereas if you find that your glued in piece here is too high, you'll have to chisel away what you want to remove, and that's awkward. In construction, before the lower piece is added on, you can turn it between centres to give yourself a round handle. The bottom piece is turned as well, but it need not be. This is the tapered rounder that is necessary. This was made with a reamer. A reamer was used to get the desired taper. So the reamer is made first. It's made from a piece of brass, cut down the centre. It has an 11 millimetre lead that follows the 11 millimetre hole. The blade is just a piece of a hacksaw blade, and it's cut to the desired angle. The included angle in this reamer is, I think, about between 5 and 6 degrees. This was made first. It was used to enlarge the hole here, to do the taper here. And when that is done, a blade was fitted, and a back piece was fitted as well to keep it in line. It works very well, as you can see in the initial tutorial. Both of these have CB written on them, and that's for Curtis Buchanan, who has his videos on YouTube. Learned how to make the American comeback Windsor from watching his videos on YouTube. He's based in Jonesboro, Tennessee, and he sells plans for the making of most of his chairs. I have this sizer. It's 3/8 of an inch, or approximately 9.5 millimetre. It's made from an old file. It's got a sharp top cutting edge, and if it happens that when you're cutting this with an angle grinder, that if you make the gap too big, you can reverse that by putting on a drop of silver solder, and when it is cool, then you can file it away slowly until you get the exact gap that you're looking for. Could I point out as well that anytime you're using angle grinders, you have to be very careful to wear protective spectacles or headgear to rule out getting particles in your eye. Finally, there's another look at the stick. This is a test piece here that the hole would be made with the reamer that is the same as what will be in the arm of the chair. And it locks. You can see that it locks very well on the taper.
I don't know where the sun goes every night, or where the moon goes when it's light.